She'd loved this man with the whole of her being, and gone to his home and his bed in innocence, as a trusting and pliant bride. Gently, and with infinite patience, he had taught her the intimate rites of marriage, and she had responded to his attentions with such primitive abandon that she blushed to recall it, even now. Still, 7 precious years had gone by, years during which Emmeline might have borne children and made a fine home. She had mourned Gil Hartwell without reservation, but she'd finally managed to set aside her grief and get on with her life. Tears blurred her vision as she gazed at him. A shameless desire possessed her. She wanted to take him by the hand, lead him up the rear stairs to her bedroom, and close the door against the world, while she lost herself in his caresses. "This is my wedding day, Gil," she said instead. He stood up suddenly, but instead of looming over her, he turned so that his back was to her. She watched as he set his shoulders and pressed her hand to her bosom when he faced her again. "You already have a husband," Gil pointed out in a quiet voice. Emmeline dashed at her tears with the back of one hand. "Yes," she said, reeling with joy and heartbreak, wild anger and the tenderest of affections. "It appears that I do. Not that I'd have known it by your behavior, Mr. Hartwell." Gil drew near and dropped to one knee before her, looking up into her wet eyes. "Do you love this other man?" he asked gruffly. "If you do, if you want him." She couldn't help herself. She reached out then and touched the beloved face, ever so lightly, with her fingertips, half expecting Gil to dissolve, like the visions she'd conjured so many times. "There won't be a wedding today," she said. "But that doesn't mean you're forgiven, Gil Hartwell." She withdrew her hand. "How do I know, for one thing, that you don't already have a wife waiting somewhere else, with a whole house full of children?" "You'll have to trust me, I reckon," he answered with a sad smile. Gil raised himself from his knee and took a seat on the bench again, but this time he didn't keep his distance. He sat disturbingly close, and Emmeline was aware of him in every nerve ending. "Is that what the good people of Plentiful believed, Emmeline? That I left you for some other woman?" "Yes," she said, and she had to push the word out of her mouth. It was so hard to say. She had suffered greatly from the gossip that surrounded Gil's disappearance, and she dreaded the idea of going through the singular agonies of it all over again. "And what did you believe?" "That you were dead," Emmeline replied, as fury swelled within her again, fresh and bitter. "I even erected a fancy monument to your memory over in the churchyard. Would you like to see it?" Gil flinched slightly in mock horror, and though there was humor in his eyes, it was tempered, as before, with some deep and very private pain. Before he could reply, a third voice spoke from behind them. "I was told," said Neil Montgomery, as both Gil and Emmeline turned to watch him descend the veranda steps, "that it was bad luck for the groom to see the bride the day of the wedding. I should have heeded the warning." Emmeline had no opportunity to offer a reply, for by the time she'd recovered, Gil was on his feet, facing his old antagonist. Gil's small but well-chosen homestead, abandoned all this while, bordered Neil's much larger ranch, and there had been bad blood between them from the first. Neil had never made a secret of the fact that he wanted to annex Gil's 160 acres to his own 1,000. "I might have known it would be you," Gil said. "How long was I gone, Montgomery, before you started courting my wife?" Emmeline touched Gil's arm.